Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I request you once again to kindly take your seats so with that we can begin the event. One quick request, kindly please turn your mobile to silent. And this is Vinita Bhatia. I'm the editor of Hotelier India magazine. And on behalf of Hotelier India and Schneider Electric, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to all of you who have braved the heat waves that is right now descending on the city of Mumbai and the crazy traffic that I'm sure all of you have encountered on your way here. So thank you very much for taking the time and the effort to join us over here as we decide and talk about a topic which is very pertinent currently. For a very long time, everybody has been talking about sustainability. It's a topic that's been a buzzword for a long time in the hospitality industry. And in the past couple of years, it has taken a huge moment. We've seen a huge momentum in this particular concept. At Hotelier India, we take pride in discussing and bringing out in the open and becoming a catalyst on various conversations that can help the hospitality industry and the stakeholders within. We decided that sustainability is one such topic that we should talk about, and we decided that the best partner we can work with who could drive this conversation ahead is Schneider Electric. But then again, I do not want to take too much time to talk about why we came up with this topic, why this event was designed, how the entire plan came about. To discuss more about it and shed light on it, I'm going to invite Mr. Bibor Srivastava, Managing Director of ITP Media India, to come up and talk about today's event, which is about building sustainable hotels. Bibor, please join me. And I'm sure everyone knows him, so please, a louder round of applause.
Oh my, thank you.
So firstly, a very warm welcome, ladies and gentlemen, for making this possible. And when you talk to a hall full to its capacity, it really is very heartwarming. So thank you, a big thank you from all of us at Schneider and ITP Media. We believe that whatever we create is something which is credible, neutral, and also allows knowledge sharing at the highest level. There's a lot on talk for this evening, and I think, I wouldn't be a master to talk on sustainability. So with your permission, there are a few notes that I've done, and I will take the opportunity to read. All right. Sustainability has become an essential subject of discussion and action in the hospitality sector in recent time, as it offers multi-pronged advantages to hotel companies. The most important is the significant cost savings in the long run, coupled with resource efficiency. Moreover, when eco-travel has become a way of life, it's a great way to attract and retain guests. While hotel companies have been concentrating on the operational aspects of sustainability, in this edition of Building Green Hotels Together, we explore how incorporating green technologies and resources right from the design stage and go a long way in helping hoteliers achieve their sustainability objectives. So what we felt that this evening, we should have the owners, the operators, the design, and the consultants come together, ideate, collaborate, and see the way forward. And I see a lot of, tall personalities. I don't want to name them because there are many in this room, but this is going to be a great evening. Our discussion is aiming to support this endeavor of building greener hotels together as part of the Green Yodha Sustainability Initiative. People who don't know about Green Yodha, this is something phenomenal from Schneider. And if you look up and Google up, you will find it lots and lots there. Together with Schneider Electric, we are participating in this initiative to connect all stakeholders to realize the vision of sustainability in hotels through a sustainability movement to lead a net zero future for the hotel industry. Schneider Electric's sustainability initiative, Green Yodha, aims to build a community of green warriors to step up their actions by the adoption of digitization and energy efficiency in the hotel industry and by joining the good fight for the planet. While doing so, we also urge the hotel community to join us in the sustainability journey by becoming a Green Yodha and making the planet a more sustainable place to inhabit. So join the good fight, become a Green Yodha. And ladies and gentlemen, tonight and this evening, we were literally scouting whole of the country. Who is the best person to do this incredible talk, to make this whole, people in the room, outside the room, and many that we reach through our social media handles. I'm delighted, and it's my honor to welcome Ms. Millie Majumdar. Please, can you give a huge round of applause? Ma'am, I'll take a minute to read about you, but you're most welcome to be on stage. Please, ma'am. Please, yeah. No, I mean, less is more, but let me take this opportunity, Millie, to talk a few lines on you. Millie is Managing Director of Green Business Certification Institute Private Limited, India, and Senior Vice President at US GBC. In her current role, Millie, an architecture graduate and a building technology specialist, Millie has more than 2 decades of experience in the field of energy and environment with a focus on sustainability development of habitats. She has worked tremendously in the sectors of green buildings, climate-resilient housing, and city planning and urban transportation. She has led a team of professionals to develop a portfolio of green rating systems for habitats and have been widely accepted in India. Millie has also enabled the development of large portfolio of green jobs through training and skill enhancement. She is widely traveled and has lectured in several national and international seminars and conferences. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time for Ms. Millie Majumdar. Welcome.
Thank you. And it's a great honor and pleasure to be talking to all of you. So I see, a full house here, and as all of you are enjoying the drink. So it's important for us, I think, to revisit what we went through. And I believe, so this is how I have named my talk today, the hospitality sector rising like a phoenix. I wouldn't say from ashes, but from, the learnings and from the experiences that we have gained from COVID. I guess this is one of the worst affected sectors, and if I'm not wrong, in 2021, about the sector in India took about 1.3 trillion rupee hit in revenue. But as we are now opening up in 2022, we do see a lot of revenge travel, and the sector is poised for more growth than ever before. But I guess this is a time for us to take cues from what has happened and to be more vigilant about the future, what it holds for us. And it gives us enough opportunity to be resilient, to be efficient, and most importantly, to cater to health and well-being of the people who come and occupy the hospitality, what the hospitality sector offers. So with this, so how I have structured my talk is in the next 15 minutes, or maybe, I'm not sure, it may be a little longer. So I'll break it into 2 parts. One is talking about, what we hear about the climate change and what we can do in order to keep the 1.5 degrees Celsius, temperature rise within our control. What is it globally that's happening, and how, like today I represent my organization, which is US Green Building Council, and we stand for a LEED rating system, which is the globally accepted certification program for green buildings, and we are there in about 180 countries. So some thoughts and numbers from there, and then I'll shift to the health and well-being aspect, because as I said, it's very important for us to revisit what we are doing currently in the sector, and to see if we can offer certain solutions to have a better health and well-being of the residents who come and occupy in our properties. So now coming to, again, I will not bore you with the numbers, but just a small thought. We, like our Prime Minister has made a lot of commitments, but that by 2070 we will be net zero. So what does that really mean for us? That means that, and this is a number crunching that has been done by the International Energy Agency, which means that by 2025, all new buildings have to be zero carbon ready. So are we really there? We are nowhere near there, and this is a global number. So there is a lot to do, and I think if we have to meet that commitment, we have to be serious in what we are doing. And if you really see by 2050, so this is about new buildings, what we are talking about by 2025, 2030. And by 2050, all buildings, current, existing, as well as new, about 85% have to be zero carbon ready, which means not only buildings have to be energy efficient to the maximum extent, but renewable energy infusion into the grid also has to be maximized. So it's a huge, huge and a tall ask. And along with that, you would see that there is a great shift in, how the mobility sector moves, how we commute to the hospitality sector. That is also going to be heavily reliant on electric vehicles. So that huge lift, and we all have to be part of this whole game. So the issue is, that climate change is for real, and time for action is very less. Temporarily exceeding even the global warming of 1.5 degrees Celsius will result in severe impacts for nature, some of which would be irreversible. And today also you felt the heat wave, which is there now, that is intolerable, and the entire country is facing it. So it's for real, let's just, accept it. And if you really look at, again, carbon, what we talk about from buildings, it is not only the energy that we use, but also the energy that goes into constructing the building also is equally important. So in the entire life cycle of the hospitality sector, how we construct buildings, how we operate them are equally important for us. But where are we? We are mature and wise. All of us talk that we are making green buildings. Climate science is settled. Energy use in buildings is well understood. All solutions are existing today. The program has been hosted also by Schneider Electric, who is one of the biggest names in the sector. We know the solutions are there. But the main issue is about the political and corporate commitments getting real. I think there all of us have a big role to play. So green buildings, again, what I say is green buildings is not for only the elite class, it's for one and everyone, for them to, achieve the benefits. Then only we can achieve those goals of what I said about 85% of buildings being efficient by 2050. And in addition, they have to be safe because it's for people, they have to be healthy, they have to be inclusive. We cannot leave the vulnerable society behind. They have to be smart, productive, efficient, equitable, sustainable, responsive, and most importantly, resilient. So this is the brand that I stand for, and we are committed to making the world a better place to live. And there are several examples, and I'll take you to some of the examples of numbers in a short while. So green buildings, we know, they save money, they consume less energy, use less water, use much fewer resources, and provide better environmental quality. And LEED certified buildings are proven to have about 34% lower in terms of CO2 emissions. They consume 25%, and these are all proven numbers. Water consumption is less, and also it helps to divert a lot of waste from the landfill because it promotes waste, kind of management as well as reuse as well as waste recovery. And most importantly, green buildings are for people, planet, and profitability. You cannot talk about green if it is not for the people and if it does not, kind of impact your profit lines. So that's very, very critical. How we are having an integrated approach to meet all the objectives is crucial. So, and it offers certainly a lifetime of returns. For us, we have done more than 2,800 total hospitality projects covering about 1.16 billion square foot. And I'll be talking about, few of the numbers. For example, if you look at the Marriott Group, it moved from 2 registered and certified projects in 2001 to about 140 in 2016. And it is their way of constructing buildings. It's no longer a can-do, it's a must-do for them. And since hotels consume resources 7 days a week and 24 hours a day, it's very important for us to maximize the opportunity, and it offers greatest opportunity for savings and the conservation efforts. This is as per a TripAdvisor survey. This is a little dated, but still the numbers hold good. So we have found that about 2/3 of travelers reported plans to make more environmentally minded choices in the coming years. And I think now more so, because people are conscious. About 88% travelers reported participating in the energy efficiency program of the hotel room. And similar numbers, in participating in hotels' linen and towel reuse program, in recycling offered by the hotel, so on and so forth. And obviously, TripAdvisor says that if you're a green certified hotel, then that has a larger footfall. So it definitely means higher business. Now let us look at some of the examples. This is Marriott Marquis in Washington, D.C. So what it does, this is not only a pretty picture, it has sought to provide aesthetically pleasing and comfortable and energy efficient guest experience. It is fully naturally lit, and it has lesser energy consumption by 25%. And importantly, what it does is it uses something called a free cooling. Many of us do not know that there are many times during the day and night where the outside temperature is cooler or warmer than inside. So you can take advantage of free cooling or free heating and not use a conventional air conditioning which burns energy. And it provides 100% irrigation with captured rainwater and groundwater. In India, ITC is one of the major hotel chains that has all LEED certified properties, and this is one of the LEED Zero, property of ITC, and it spans over nearly about 3 lakh square foot, and it has saved water, which is able to irrigate about 65,000 trees annually. Its electricity demand is entirely met through renewable energy, and similar other, it can talk about a lot of other environmentally friendly measures. This is the Nines Portland, Oregon. So this is also a very interesting property where it diverted about 86% of the construction waste from landfills through recycling initiatives. It has very highly efficient interiors. And, I got this very interesting quote from the Hotel Trust, who says that Pebblebrook doesn't just think of having a LEED certified property for the sake of having this designation, or rather the plaque, but it's about going in the direction because greener hotels are more valuable, more efficient, more appealing to consumer preferences and demands. This is a hotel in Peru. This is called Tambo del Inca Hotel, and this is the first LEED certified hotel in Peru, and it is developed by Libertador Hotels, Resorts and Spa. And interestingly, it has over 10 lakh square foot of vegetation that was restored along the Urubamba River, which is adjoining to the space. So these resorts and property not only cater to the efficiency within the property, but also take care of the landscape around. This is another very, beautiful property in Sri Lanka, which is the first LEED certified hotel outside the United States. And this has been designed by architect Geoffrey Bawa, who is very renowned. And here the beauty of this property is that 80% of its roof are planted with native vegetation, and it kind of played with the existing landscape and built within it. You would see that there are portions within the property where there is no building line, but it has allowed the trees to grow. So there are several ways of growing green, and I think we are all in this together. Another, Hyatt Place, Fairfield Inn. This is also in US. It's a LEED Platinum property, and it also boasts of several energy efficiency, and it has a green roof that has been able to save a lot of cooling energy for this hotel. But what I have seen is mostly importantly that people boast of having green buildings, but none of them are measured or monitored. We really do not know how they're operating. So it's very important for us to monitor. So we have this platform where you can put data and monitor and see how the building is functional and take actions to make it better. So I think monitoring and metering is very important to show that it's actually working to the efficiency standards that it stands for. Second part to my presentation quickly. Hospitality industry, in addition to driving efficiency, has a lot of scope for driving health and well-being of the occupants. We recently did a study of about 30 office buildings, but the numbers and the figures are equally applicable to the hospitality industry, where we found that the indoor environmental quality of offices are, and of some of the green certified offices are actually not meeting the standards. So they are not meeting the thermal comfort standards. The CO2 level is very high, and I'm sure even in this room now as we are sitting, the carbon dioxide concentration is very high, So that has a huge, huge impact on health and well-being. So what to do? And also we find that people's health are getting impacted because of lack of good nutritional component in their food and lack of proper furniture where they work, play or sleep. So here also I believe there is a lot of role for the, and I'm just trying to extrapolate some of the data that we have from the study that we conducted to see what we can do in the hospitality sector. We know that in India suffers from these levels of pollution, and there is a severe issue about air quality all over. So in terms of avenues for improvement, I'm not getting into the details, but it's very, very important for us to have measured air quality assessments in all the properties, and particularly for spaces like banquet rooms, etc. Sensor control systems, and optimize between indoor and outdoor pollutants, and new filtration technologies and use of better materials. All indoor materials also have a large role to play in health and well-being, and that's a separate subject in itself. Acoustic comfort. This is again a very, very important part. Many hotels suffer from this, that they do not cater to the requisite level of acoustic comfort for people who are the residents, and here also there is a lot of work to do in terms of HU placement, in terms of finishes, what you use, etc. Finally, influencing fitness and nourishment. Again, some interesting things I have gathered for this presentation. But again, when I walked into this hotel, I had no other choice other than going through the elevator. But what about if I had a staircase that was visible to me? I'm sure it's there, but I really don't know. So, and we know that this kind of design certainly, promotes active living, and it's good for health. So why not make your future properties, with a good exposure to the stairs that go up? It will help in active lifestyle. Why not provide opportunities in the gym for all people to come and do something? Let's not have only high intensity exercises, which can help only the regular gym people to go and, do gymming. You can have both high and low intensity. Why not, acquire some of the spaces around, or talk to the local authorities so that people during the evening when they go out, they can have places to sit, enjoy the, the surroundings around, and also have a good, run or a walk, which is good for them. Why not have some active workstations within the room, maybe standing desks within the business center for your employees? Certainly, that will provide better active work-life balance for everyone. This is the last segment. So this is, and we all know that eating unhealthily is linked with about 66% increased risk of loss of productivity, and that we know for sure. So this is something, maybe you can tell me better. So it seems that there's something called a classical conditioning, which is a learning process. Like when you see a food, it is not that food per se gives you the cue that you need to eat it. It's how it is presented that gives you the, and if that regular conditioning is done, then you get addicted to the food, So this is called a classical conditioning, where a learning process in which an innate response to a potent stimuli comes to be the elicited in response to a previously neutral stimuli. And that is achieved by repeated pairings of the neutral stimuli with the potent stimuli. So how can we kind of, use this effectively in the hospitality industry? Talk about nutritional food. A cue, you can have routinely certain things. Let me give one example. Suppose you have a very nutritional palette, of fruit, etc., which we know is good for health. But if you are introducing that, put it in a significant position, with good lighting, where people get attracted and they go to that counter rather than eating unhealthy food. Have transparency around the nutritional quality of food. And I'm sure that will have a great value addition. So this says that after introducing a nicer fruit bowl, placing a desk light shining on the fruit, it increases the sale of that. This is of course, from a shop. by about 186%. So I'm sure in the buffet counter, etc., healthy nutritional food, getting a better environmental cue will attract more people to eat it and be healthier. The other important thing, I'll end with this, is the size of the plate. We have these big plates available and we full it. Come full with it when we come to the buffet, and then we don't finish and half of it. So why not reduce? And in the well rating system, you will find that the maximum size of a food plate is restricted to 10 inches of a dinner plate. So it's very interesting that there's an optical illusion, like both the circles being of the same size, this, if you put food here in such a big plate, it will look much less. But they are of the same size. So the illusion makes one dot appear larger than the other. So every time you fill your plate, this illusion affects how much food you take and how much food you think you have taken. So these are some things I thought I'd share, and I'm sure all of you would be knowing it. And display here, all of it is displayed, a bowl of cereal, what's the nutritional ingredient, but do we have it for that? So why don't we display it, in our counters? That will definitely lead to health and well-being, for people who are coming and occupying our property. So I want to end here. So I'm sure, again, that going back to the title of my presentation, Rising from the Phoenix, and as we have now known that health and well-being is equally important as making our planet a better place to live in, I'm sure all of us are in it together, and we'll make the hospitality sector something, which everybody would want to go and take, a break in your hotel and your property. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Majumdar. Please be over here on the stage, Ms. Majumdar. Firstly, I must say, your topic was really indeed very interesting. Rising from the Phoenix, I think it also has a resonance for the entire hospitality industry, because right now the industry is rising like a phoenix after 2 years of seeing debilitating difficulties. And sustainability will really help them recover their business. So thank you so much. It was really interesting. And we would like to offer you our thanks. And to do that, I request Mr. Bibor Srivastava to join me up. Bibor, can I have you over here? And I would also request Mr. Bhupesh Arora. He's a business head for digital energy at Schneider Electric. May I please have the felicitation, the plaque?
It matches your style. Somewhere closer.
Oh, that was not designed. Thank you once again. So that was a very interesting presentation. I don't know how many of you had takeaways from it, but I definitely learned a lot. What I did realize is that there's a lot that brands can do when it comes to sustainability, and there are small steps that one can take. And there are companies that are taking steps in the right direction. One of them, like I said, is a partner that we decided to collaborate with for this particular event, and that is Schneider Electric. And we are going to have a gentleman who's going to come up over here and share a bit more about the organization and their green initiatives. Before that, I request, can we have the AV that details their sustainability initiatives, please? Thank you so much. And in case you're curious what the Green Yoda is all about, I am going to invite Mr. Deepak Murali. He's the hospitality segment leader for Greater India at Schneider Electric. He's going to shed a little bit more light about Schneider Electric's various initiatives and also about Green Yoda. Deepak, can I have you here, please?
Very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for your presence on this great evening, and thank you, ma'am, for a wonderful session on the sustainability aspect to the buildings. On today's session, I would like to give you a brief overview on Schneider Electric's capability on some of the sustainability and digitization initiatives. At the same time, I would also give you an overview on some of the key products or some of the offers which are more digitized and which helps in bringing in environmental sustainability and an economic sustainability for all the operators. So Schneider, as a global company, achieved 29 billion euros in the last financial year, and India has a significant contribution to these numbers. But what makes Schneider India more special is its resource. We have around 20,000 employees pan-India, and we are scattered across India to serve the customers, the customer needs in terms of digitization, in terms of bringing sustainability, and also to keep the customer focus always as our topmost priority in all our engagements. We also have 30 plus manufacturing sites across India, and we have 60 plus sales offices across India to cater to all the customer requirements. With this, I would like to move to the next slide, where I would like to speak on the transformation journey of Schneider Electric. Our transformation journey is predominantly moving in two pillars. One is sustainability, and the second thing is digitization. When we speak about sustainability, we want to be in line with the country's requirement in 2030, where 50% of the energy requirements has to move into a sustainable resource or probably the renewable ones. And also on a bigger plan of 2070, where we want to go net zero. So most of our solutions and our services are completely attributed to bring in sustainable solutions to the end users. We are looking at very key partners in the market. We want to look and serve very key focused end users who would like to bring in sustainable solutions to their occupants because we want to see a net zero approach in most of the solutions where they deploy. So I would like to move ahead with some of the key value propositions which are driving in the hotel industry. There are basically three value propositions which Schneider Electric targets from the product perspective. One is guest experience. The second thing is operational efficiency. And third thing is energy sustainability and the performance associated to it. As we speak, nobody wants to compromise on the guest experience aspect. Every star rating, which is part of the feedback which all the brands collect, is very critical and essential. Schneider offers a world-class solution to connect the entire guest journey to the brands and make the stay in the hotels a very purposeful driven journey for them during their presence inside the hotel. It could be as small as turning off the light to connecting with the brand on Do Not Disturb or Make My Room, as small as that, to even to help them to choose what they want in their room facility by calling the right service agents within the hotel premises. So guest satisfaction is one of the key value propositions within the Schneider Electric offer and solution. As we move to operational efficiency, one of the biggest challenge or probably in hotels is the energy intense environment. 365 days and 24/7. We have energy requirements in the hotel. There needs to be a complete monitoring of the power management system, the distributed network within the hotels, right from the transformer level to the room premises. So operational efficiency becomes a heart of a hotel premises, which is also defining the profitability for both the brands and the owners. So in this context, Schneider offers a complete digitized solution where the brands can actually track, monitor, assess, predict any failures to make sure that the system or their premises is more efficiently running. It touches base on two major aspects. One is the building management system, and also it touches base on the energy management system. So covering up both the HVAC requirements, which majorly happens through the utility area, and the energy management distribution, which happens from the LTHT distribution network. Schneider offers a complete digital solution across these two major pillars of operational areas to make sure efficiency is arrived at all the respective levels, and also making sure that the premises is more safe and reliable at the same time. Last, I would like to touch base on the sustainability aspect, which is very essential for any as we go on from now onwards. We have already started and initiated a lot of offers in very particularly to take care of environmental sustainability. Like how ma'am was telling, it's very important that we design the right products using the right materials. So some of the parts what we manufacture out of plastics have been taken care where we don't recycle unwanted materials to get a filler kind of a setup within the products. So what happens is, as you see, the life cycle of the material right from the starting of the production to the end of the disposal is being taken care. We don't want to emit unwanted CO2 footprint into the environment, which causes a sustainability issue in the future. So that being taken care, we also have amazing offers which takes care of limited utilization of the power coming from the utility to move into a renewable resource where we have distributed energy resource management in some of the facilities where we have installed. So we want to drive in the sustainability aspect and bring in more economic sustainability and environmental sustainability as part of the value proposition to the brands. I would like to touch base as my last slide where we see some of Schneider Electric's capability within a hotel premises. There are 5 key areas which I would like to touch base. One is energy and sustainability, guest room management, integrated business management, power management, and the common area requirements. Energy and sustainability, like how I intimated to you, it is more on connecting a distributed energy resource onto a common platform where we don't try to utilize or depend completely on the utility energy which is available, and we try to move into solar panels, we try to look into hydro or other source of energy which is available, and try to establish a balance between these two available energy resource and try to bring in more sustainability. At the same time, we have not stopped here, and we are able to do an additional to it on the digital level, where we will be able to analyze, connect multiple hotels together on a single dashboard. We call this platform as called Resource Advisor. We will be able to track the procurement on diesel, water, and all the utilities which you try to buy as a resource for engaging your facility. So we are able to create one dashboard where a business leader can actually visualize how much of material has been procured across each of these sites, and we are able to map those procurement to an efficiency level where we are able to track all the wages, what we call water, air, gas, steam, electricity, and map this to a sustainability barometer in the dashboard. So you have a conscious decision to maintain the sustainability levels of your facility using this kind of tools at your disposal. So this is one of a core value proposition that Schneider would like to offer, where you want to connect multiple sites or an individual site where you know what you are buying and how effectively you are converting that in an efficiency model to your sustainability goal. Moving ahead from that is the guest room, and we have a complete digital solution to connect all the room level, courtesy level switches, lighting, blinds. Things like this are all going to get connected in one software, and you will be able to talk from the maintenance room to the room, and also you will be able to receive the feedback from the room to your place. So you will be able to go both ways, where you make sure that guests are not left alone, and their stay and their needs are being very well taken care during their entire period of stay in the hotel. Integrated building management system is a combination of building management system, but not stopping there. We also have an integration with the guest room, where in a one single dashboard, you are able to connect building management requirement and the guest room expert, or I would say that guest room management under the same platform. It also takes care of the security and the reliability of the facility. We have fire addressal system, which is UL and EN certified. We also have valves and actuator, which is very essential for all the fan coil units which you have. We help in programming the chiller plant management. We also have lighting, which is specific to the room, and you can also have the lighting controls of this. So these are all digital platforms which gets collated onto one single layer in a hotel premises, and it gives the brand a choice to hold all the things happening within the hotel under a single platformed application. We have this backbone called EcoStruxure, under which we keep all these platform products in the umbrella. So the brands and the owner can actually take what are the offers required for them at that moment, and they are all scalable at their own pace, and you can be removing, and it is also interoperable, where you can have a third-party devices integrated into the system. I would also touch base on power management, which is also going very digital, because conventional energy management is no more in the market. People want to use minimal resource and be more safe when they are operating with high energy work areas. Very predominantly in the low voltage and the medium voltage panels. I would just like to highlight one of our key digital offer, where we are able to accommodate a small heat sensor into a bus bar inside the panel. So what happens is, if there is a improper torque between the bus bar and the incoming feeder, there can be a heat which can get generated, and it creates unwanted carbon emission to the environment. At the same time, it's not safe and reliable for the employees who are trying to maintain the panel. With a digital offer, we will be able to understand what is the temperature which is running inside the panel, so that you will be able to predict the issue which is going to happen probably like 15 days later. So this kind of intelligence is available in our panel, which can help you save the reduction in the carbon dioxide, keep your employees safe, which is highest priority, ability to maintain and reduce the cost of a shutdown, or probably an unwanted incident, which could probably create an unwanted scenario in the overall operational activities. So this is one such intelligent offer that we have, which brands can accommodate and can leverage on keeping your premises more safe and secure. And last, I would like to touch base on the common area lighting, which is predominantly to manage your balcony, or probably the ballrooms or the bigger halls, or the walkway paths, which can be integrated to a common platform and easily manageable from a remote location. With all these key offers, what we wish to tell you here is, with these product lines, your hotels will be more secure, safe, reliable, and more hyper efficient with the right set of tools and the digitized solution that we can deploy in the hotel premises. I thank you for this opportunity. Thank you very much. Have a nice evening.
Thank you, Mr. Murali. And it's pretty evident that going green isn't difficult. In fact, it's pretty easy from whatever Ms. Mujumdar and Mr. Murali have shared. And it takes small steps, like they say in Hindi, boon boon se banta sagar. And when you look in the hospitality segment, almost all hoteliers have taken some step or the other when it comes to going green. Many of them have decided that they are not going to use single-use plastics. Most of them have bottling water plants in their premises. Several other initiatives have been taken, whether it's using eco-friendly packaging materials. But is that enough? And how exactly can they ensure that the carbon footprint, which the hospitality industry is known to contribute greatly, can be brought down? And that is a topic for our next panel discussion. It is on how small steps can make a huge difference. And for this session, I call on stage our panelists. First and foremost, I would like to request Mr. Anurag Bhatnagar, COO of the Leela Palaces, Hotels and Resorts. I would next like to call upon Mr. Rajneesh Malhotra, COO of Chalet Hotels. Mr. Bhupesh Arora, Business Head Digital Energy for Schneider Electric. Mr. Kartik Komireddy, Director of SKM Consultants. And Mr. Javed Ali, Senior Regional Director Operations Radisson Hotel Group. We were expecting Mr. Zubin Saxena of Radisson Hotel Groups to join us, but unfortunately he is under the weather, and hence Mr. Javed Ali is going to represent him. Thank you so much, Javed, for joining us over here. And the session will be moderated by Mr. Bibor Srivastav, MD for ITP Media India. Over to you, Bibor.
Can we have the mic, please? All right. So good to see all the wonderful men. Do I have a place in all these handsome hunks? Yes, I do. So thank you. I think, boys, why don't you double up? So, this is an interesting conversation, and really thank you for a very enlightening, session that you had. It was really an eye-opener. And if you do small things correctly, I think we tend to score. And the discussion tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is very close to my heart as well. As a media entity, it's our prime responsibility that we remain credible, and that we allow the knowledge, information, and dissemination. And sustainability. I was talking to my panelist over the evening yesterday, and somebody said, listen, it's not fashionable, it's imperative. And I think this evening, we are going to learn from these amazing hoteliers and the consultant, one consultant, Karthik here with me, what is the success recipe and how passionately they believe on sustainability. It's not a fad, it's a reality. And as Schneider rightly said, you can really convert into profitability and cost optimization. I think I will go to Anurag. Anurag, we've been knowing you for more than a decade, and a lot of great work that you've been as a hotelier, a successful hotelier yourself, and now the turnaround for the brand Leela, which has really not taken the prominence in the entire landscape of the Indian hospitality. And let me just shoot straight to the question. How is your brand synonymous with luxury, and how are you embracing digitization to enhance hotel experience?
I think it was great being here. It's like so far, like really enjoyed listening to you, Ms. Majumdar, and Murli later on. Big learnings, and I have my team out here. I'm sure there's a lot of takeaway for everyone. So, I mean, in terms of what your first part of your question, that how is like luxury, I understand, like synonymous with, and how do we use digitalization to bring in these offerings? So I think they are not disconnected. I think it's, like you said earlier, it's not just fashionable, it's also profitable. It's very important. Then we have seen that even earlier when we saw this TripAdvisor report that you put forward on the screen, and even now, that more and more guests are being mindful and conscious of the impact that they have when they travel. Impact on themselves, the people that they work with, and the impact on the destination, and the impact of community. There is more mindfulness and consciousness about consumption of luxury. So it's not necessary that the both have to be separated. So we have seen that sense of awareness and mindfulness and conscious luxury creeping in. The second part, like how are we using digitalization, which is something that I can write on to what Murli presented in Schneider from a Winnie thing. I think it's so holistic, because whether it's a question of building management system or integrated operational efficiencies, or how do we control your HVAC and heart of the house and your lighting systems, common areas, guest areas, without impacting experience, whilst you can be high touch and you can still be high tech. The two need not be differentiated. You can always use the best of technology and digital, which is available today, and yet you can keep your personalization in the space that we all perform in. The tools are there, the awareness is there. It's more about ensuring that it's no longer just something good to do, but something that becomes a part of your habit and DNA and is executed because it's something that needs to be reminded to people, I think, till it becomes a habit. I think some examples were also given in a presentation earlier, that it's something that is repeated often enough. If a message is repeated often enough with the right level of intensity, it kind of becomes a habit and it becomes a part of your program that you do. Conditioning is something that you spoke about with the cute dog out there. So I think digitalization, all the tools are there, the dashboards are there, the matrix exists, the measurement criteria exist. It's just a question of more and more inclusiveness and ensuring that there is a much wider scale of adoption. To me, that's what's happening at the Leela today. I think pandemic, if nothing, accelerated this process because we were brought in, we got used to adopting technology, whether it was getting rid of newspapers and adopting e-newspapers, having e-butlers, using WhatsApp as a medium for chats, ensuring that we had more contactless check-ins, in-room check-ins were happening with minimum human interface. So I think both from a design standpoint as well as from operational standpoint, to some extent, this last 2 years have just fast-tracked what already existed, and the adoption became that much more relevant.
No, that's very nicely said, Anurag. And we can see, I mean, the way Leela is adopting technology. But is the onus also in this learning curve with you?
I think the onus is, I think for anything, it's always the tone from the top that makes a difference. It starts from the top, and I think more and more of our hotels, our GMs, their ExCom, the chief engineers, And not just the technical services team, many of them are in this room today, but everyone in the hotel is now becoming more and more conscious of the impact of the job, their role in terms of not just adoption, but execution. It's like no longer is just about common sense and good to do. It's something like inculcating those habits that can be rolled out and can be measured. Because we are, as somebody said, and we all know that, a 365-day business, 24/7. There are times when the ambient temperature is cooler than the temperature probably inside. There are times when you can actually know when to turn off, and the technology exists, whether it's building management systems or ensuring that there's balancing and all that happening through your technology. So it's like more and more penetration is happening in this segment.
All right. So, we would love to have this a little more interactive, and so people, you can feel free, we can have questions. My team is already there. Karthik, let me bring you in here. We're having a very interesting conversation, and I don't know whether should I use this forum to say that most of the temperatures really talk something, and they show something, but is that the reality in the rooms?
Actual set point.
Not to put you on the spot, but yeah, go ahead.
Temperatures as such, yeah.
As a guest, common man, we really don't know. We keep on saying 18, 20, 19, but is this really the temperature that's showing there? Look, right now,
right now?
yeah, so right now, my friend next to me is,
controversial
so if
question.
people in Sofitel, could you, the air conditioning is not so great here, can you just help us here? I don't know.
They adopted that.
So show the real temperature, Vikram, right? Yeah, can we just lower it down? We need a little more comfort here. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so to answer your question as such, if you look at it, most hotel operators actually tell you that the thermostat should not show the actual room temperature because
Lalita is really just, oh.
give them the chance to set it down as low as they can, but don't show the actual temperature.
Is it? I didn't know that.
No, listen, guys, please, this is just for the fun of it, in the spirit of hotels, and...
we show the...
all right. So, Vikram, no offense, just thought, we have some interesting panel. There are owners, operators, and a consultant. But let me bring back the owner himself, Rajneesh, who I've known him for many years now. Rajneesh, just taking one of the first question. And I know, till about yesteryears, I used to head a media company, and I was very fond of media, not as the end technology media, but more from the enterprise technology. And I saw, when we launched ITP and Hotelier India, what is that is going to make the real difference. And to me, technology, that will give you the cutting edge. And so, Rajneesh, you've been a very strong veteran, and I just wanted to ask you, data-driven technologies are reshaping the future of building, including hotel buildings. How do you think it is helping you develop a more sustainable and environmental friendly infrastructure?
Very long question, but I'll start from how technology is helping collate data. First of all, to do anything, to be able to take any action, you need to measure what has been happening. Before you ascertain where you want to be, you want to know where you are. And previously, the tools were all manual to measure. Thanks to the whiz kids of our school who got 99% and above, they invented a lot of things, made life a lot easier for us people who went to hotel schools to be able to measure each and everything in real time. And we've been entrusted with that responsibility to make those decisions in real time, if not in real time, quick enough to course correct. So all these IoT-based systems, sensors and etc. I don't know the technical jargon, but as a hotelier, I know that everything is now measurable very quickly at a very cheap cost, can be integrated with a very sophisticated system that is enabled with AI and machine learning, which learns when the data flows into that system. And correct me, sir, if I go a little off track and get too carried away. And it can be utilized for the betterment of the hotel, and sustainability being the topic here, which impacts people, planet, as well as profits. So all three are probably equally impacted now. Previously, profits were missing from the equation. I think the developments in technology in the recent past have brought profits to the foray, because unless profits are seen, only then investors, the company I represent is Chalet Hotels, which owns and operates hotels. Of course, sustainability has been at the core of our operations, but I won't talk about Chalet. In general, I would talk about anybody who's investing into a building or a hotel would look at returns. And any initiative that goes towards sustainability, an owning company may want to do it out of their good heart and the care for the planet, but unless it really connects with their bottom line, it's a difficult sell. So technology and some great companies like this one and many others have made that possible. Second point, I'll just take you from what Anurag was saying. It flows from the top. At the top of the pyramid sits the guest. And even today and now, the younger guests and even older people like myself are very conscious about the environment. So they are asking these questions. If not directly, in RFPs, there are a lot of questions now which are directly pointed towards, I think Anurag and his team would know that, towards what initiative does the hotel take to conserve energy, to conserve water, to manage waste, to reduce plastics, etc. So it flows from the top, so the guest dictates it. And the leadership of the company should feel it, so automatically it will flow. So second point, maybe 5 years or slightly before that, luxury was synonymous with wastage. Luxury doesn't have to be waste or excess. You can take small steps, like Vinita was saying, the topic of today is this thing. An aerator in the tap saves 30% water. It's a small step, but 30% water is big for the environment, for the planet, and for the profitability as well. So luxury doesn't mean wastage. So he runs a luxury chain, and he would know that, and it's very easy to incorporate sustainability and reduction of all these things that I spoke about and run the hotels efficiently.
Very nice. You talked about something. I jogged my memories, and for a sense you said about, wastage of water. In good, yesteryears, many years, I don't know whether folks will agree with me or not. I mean, there are like massive showers in the rooms, and really, tons and gallons of water. But I remember, we used to have a tumble bath, a bucket bath. So I think that's probably is something, something which, our history, our parents have taught us, how we can save water. But that's in a very small, a big initiative at that point of time, and the consciousness the people and the parents and the children have. But now the world of technology and green technology, and let me get Bhupesh in, because the point is, from a Schneider perspective, and hotels are not just looking sustainability, but they're looking at cost optimization. Bhupesh, I wanted to understand from you, as in the sense, Schneider Electric is a leading technology provider of energy and automation in buildings and industry. What digital solution does Schneider Electric offer to assisted hotel owners, operators like Leela, Radisson, Chalet, in achieving their sustainability objectives? As rightly put by Rajneesh, they're adopting technology, and we also heard that this is going to be a big enabler going forward. And you are at the cusp where you can be very handy partner to all of them, people sitting on the dais.
Sure, thanks Vibhor, and I think I'll just take you from what Rajneesh said. I think technology today, I think, is becoming more and more affordable. And I think in the hotel industry, we are dealing with two aspects. One is the guest experience, and secondly, intense environment to manage the guest experience, which is primarily the operational efficiencies of the property. So from Schneider, I think Deepak covered a lot of it, but we focus a lot today, not only on compromising the guest experience, but primarily how do we improve our operational efficiencies to help hoteliers achieve the operational guest experience while increasing the efficiencies and meeting the sustainability goals also. Technology, yes, few years back used to be a very difficult aspect when we used to talk of digitization of the buildings or hotels, primarily keeping in view adding more and more sensors, primarily not only from the common experience of the hotel, but the individual experience of the hotel also. Today, I think technology has reached to a level that we are monitoring the guest experience, and we are trying to see how we can enhance the same experience to the guests when they are visiting the hotel on a repeated basis also. So we are leveraging a lot of data and giving the same guest experience whenever they are visiting. On the operational efficiencies, as an hotel operator, you need to have the efficiency being achieved in every single aspect of the property what you are maintaining, be it your HVAC, be it your electrical system, be it your security system or the fire system. So you need to have an integrated system primarily to have an operational efficiency which is primarily again focused around your guest experience. Any small incidents in your property which can affect your overall guest experience or the property experience which is there. So multiple energy sources, again integrating of those multiple energy sources, digitizing all these things and bringing to a common platform is one of those keys which Schneider has been driving. We have moved a level above. That means I think you may be having a lot of data which is being generated through a lot of systems in the properties, but are you using that data for a meaningful insight to operationalize those insights into the betterment of the systems, or have the foresights which can help reduce those incidences? Moving from condition-based maintenance to predictive and forecasted maintenance is one of an important aspect which we help drive customers. Becoming more the brand agnostic or a platform agnostic system which can help achieve. You may have new properties coming up, you may have old properties coming up, but you cannot transform everything on the old property while you build the new properties which is matching to the requirements of the future. But how do you integrate the old and new in a common platform? So there also Schneider comes and helps integrate the existing technology, whatever is existing in a property, and the newer technology on a common platform, again delivering a single meaningful insight. That means more than one property wherein you can have all the seamless views which you can help operate your properties and giving the same guest experience. So a lot of data is being collated. We are using a lot of artificial intelligence to deliver the guest experience as well as the property management experience to the developers on that.
That looks like a great amount of study and Bhupesh that you all have done with the industry. And I think Rajnish, it's great to have partners who really understand and put that guest experience at the top. Let me bring Javed here. And Javed, I think congratulations, you all have did 100 hotels.
Yes, thanks.
So can you give him a big round, please? They've just done 100. I think it's great and moment of celebrations for them, and the whole social media is flooded with that. So big hand to you and all the folks in Radisson. What would you say are the few critical starting points for the hotels in beginning their sustainable energy? Now what is happening also, Javed, the way and the speed that you're going, is sustainability at the heart of it? I know guest experiences for sure, but we need real honest answers.
Yeah, good.
You've come all the way from Delhi to make sure that you're honest here too.
Yes.
You took a lot of pains, you know. So
Yes.
Ramadan's time, people. Javed is here, so is Sahil Khan, everybody here, folks sitting out there. So we just, the hall does. And there are a lot of architects here. There are a lot of consultants and there are a lot of owners. So make an honest answer.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. And thank you very much for that encouragement. I'm happy to say that we are now building hotels that at the building stage and at the design stage themselves are meant to be and designed to be sustainable, both in the choice of site, the orientation of the building, the materials that are used, the technology we welcome, the technology that is available now. Right from start, whether it is occupancy sensing, smart air conditioning or climate management factors, we've got those. We've got windows and thermal insulation that allows for efficient lighting as well as lack of thermal stress and so on. So some of our new resorts which are within easy driving distances, and because we've got 100 hotels, there's usually within about 2 hours drive, you can actually reach one of our hotels, between 2 to 4 hours. And we are partnering with Sunfuel to have EV charging stations and unlocking yet another interesting part of the market, which is EV users. And these are now pretty good quality vehicles, and many of our guests who prefer to travel on their own with their families are enjoying that time and enjoying that drive and enjoying the experience in our hotels. So one of the things we have built in now is experiencing the locale, which is not just the place that you're visiting, but what does it offer in terms of cuisine, what are the local specialities, what are the personalities that you meet locally, and how do you impact the local economy in a positive manner? So these are the things, apart from all the regular, some of those requirements have now been legislated into place, so we won't talk about them. But some of these interesting things, and we welcome the influx of technology, we welcome predictive maintenance, fantastic. We welcome smart water management. We welcome those water meters that detect when something's going to go wrong and sort it out before it happens. We welcome, these wonderful air conditioning systems that use air sourced transfer of heat from outside to inside and offset some of this. We welcome a more efficient solar power, which is there in all our new hotels and resorts. So this is one side, and I remember from Ms. Majumdar's set that there was a part about the greenest hotels, the one already built. So we are also talking about retrofitting some of this in some of our hotels. And we welcome all of that. We have a target fairly ambitious target, to reduce carbon emission, by 30% in 2025, by 2025, and base year being 2019. And this is measured both in terms of per room as well as per square meter of space, meeting space like this, which all hotels are doing similarly. We're not unique in that. Every hotel company does that. And all of us are targeting the carbon, net zero by 2050. Most of us are doing that. Many of us are leading lights in that. We respect that. We have taken our steps. Sahil is an architect by profession, so he's putting up even better hotels for us, very attractive hotels in good locations. And we have, our owners find it easier. It's easy. It's an easy sell, if you like. Rajneesh is a former colleague, and Anurag's an old friend. It's easiest, and of course, all of us have the responsibility to look after the asset and enhance its value. All of us have that, apart from the commercial sense that our hotels need to make. So we welcome the technology, and we need to make it viable and show how it is viable, and it makes business sense to invest in sustainable hotels, which make commercial sense and increase its longevity. And that's something that's come out of the hard realization that we went through in the pandemic, where survival was the key. So we managed to come out of that. To shut down and reopen 100 hotels was not that easy, even though it wasn't 100. We crossed 100, I think, during the second or third wave. But yes, it's working, and we're not 100% there, but we are heading in the right direction, and we've got the people on board to see that we do the right things. Thank you.
I have to say, Javed has a big heart. He's welcomed as a group, everything and everything. But Javed, honestly tell me, is that really in real life situation with the owners that easy to make things, and they just say, oh, yes, you're very well, we'll see a lot of money, go ahead, do it, we are with you.
Thank God it's not easy, else I won't have a job.
As I said, Mr. Luthra is here, and he's waving and from the owner's side, and I'll bring him with your permission.
Yes, sir.
Because somewhere, Luthra Sahab, it's a tough thing. We'll get you a mic, sir. We'll love to hear your voice as well, not to worry. Can one of the, 1 second, sir.
Yeah.
Can somebody reach in? Because I just wanted to labor on with Javed. Luthra Sahab, just 30 seconds, with your permission. Because, good you are there from the owner's side. Is that nice thing that just happened?
That's what I wanted to talk to you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Now, many owners are not hoteliers.
Sir, mic closer to you, sir.
Many owners are not hoteliers. When you sign with some international chain, they come out with some technology that this technology you should use, this technology you should use. But after every 2 or 3 years, they come out with new system. And that time they say, no, this is very good for you. And that time they say, when we spent so much money at the time of beginning, why should you spend now? Either you pay or somebody else should pay. So in that case, how will you convince the owners that it is good for them to pay? Because I've seen, they say, suppose I have spent 50,000 rupees, or I spent 20 lakhs rupees, and the next system they say, okay, it's going to cost 50 lakhs rupees. Then why should we pay the additional 30 lakhs rupees, where technology keeps on changing after every 2 years?
Okay. So,
How will you convince?
Javed?
Yeah.
How will you convince the owners?
नहीं ठीक है sir.
Well, yeah,
No, no.
thank you.
So guys, you please in the room, please. We are just having a great conversation, and none of us, have to agree. And there are very great designers here. So Javed, floor is yours,
Thank you.
please. Yeah.
Thank you. So yes, you're right, sir. Thank you very much. And thank goodness that technology proceeds at that rate. Because I remember when my cell phone was the size of a laptop. And in my own lifetime, though I'm probably amongst the longest in teeth out here. Yes, I think we have a responsibility to see at what point we induct new technology. It should be right timed for the hotel. We constantly are looking at new tech. We are developing new tech. For instance, the property management system for our hotels is being developed in-house and is on the process of being rolled out. But we're not rolling it out to everybody, only to those that it makes sense to. So we won't prescribe, we won't enforce. We would rather prescribe if it makes business sense, and only then should it be adopted. Of course, we see the sense, and frankly, many hoteliers now think like, and most good hoteliers think like ownerships themselves. We style ourselves as asset managers, pretty much like Rajneesh is. And he's, we were brothers in arms till very short time ago. We probably still are. So we see the sense in what you're saying, sir, and we fully agree that it's got to be timed right. Yes, technology progresses at a rapid pace, and you find obsolescence happening really fast. My children laugh at my children are fairly grown up, laugh at the fact that I have a 5-year-old cell phone, which lasts only 2 years.
I'm in your company
or less
only.
than that. So be it, whatever you're comfortable with and whatever works for you in your environment where your hotel is located. We operate hotels from Jammu Kashmir all the way down to Kerala, and from Gujarat all the way across to Mizoram. Manipur. So it makes sense, and in various geographies, deserts, hills, beaches, city centers, everything. So we need to make sense in every commercial decision. It's not a blind adoption, and it has to be paced at the right manner. As long as the intention is good, and the intention is good because of education, of leaders, or from leaders, into people who are operating the hotels, as well as we have a right, we have a responsibility also to talk to our owners and accept what they say and find something that's workable and pragmatically possible and proceed that way.
No, that's a brilliant answer. I think this is a relationship, sir. I'll circle back to you. I think what Javed really said, this is a long-standing relationship, and you have to make this magical relationship, percolate down to the owners to make money. That's the brass track of it. And I think,
one more thing.
and I just want to bring two gentlemen from the owner side, but also from Bhupesh's standpoint, the way technology, and Mr. Luthra is saying, every 2 years it changes. I will tell you in media how technology change and how we've been able to gain advantage. And you have to pay for it. But I'll reserve but I'll try to get Bhupesh in here.
Okay, from the technology standpoint, I think what is happening, I think you are very right. I think technology is moving very fast, even faster than what we think today. So we are moving from an operator interface to a user interface environment. I think we all were having a guest room experience primarily. I'll just take an example of hotel. I think we were used to with some manual intervention. We did digitized with some manual switches, giving some information to the guest on the go. But I think we are integrating a lot when it comes to guest room experience by adding more and more information, whether it is the CO2 level, noise levels, or the temperature, and then moving from the manual to touch and then to graphics. So I think the user is demanding all these new things, which is leading to the technology companies like us to innovate more. So I completely agree. As an owner, you might have invested 2 years back in a technology, and 2 years down the line, the interface is entirely different. And do we, again, I think Javed mentioned, what is the right time to upgrade or invest is something, but for an international chain of operators, I can assume a traveler coming from US, if they have adopted something over there, they may expect the same when they visit on the same brand, if they are sticking to the same brand in a different country, the similar user experience. So maybe on international chain, I think that could be, maybe I may be wrong, and Javed can validate whether it is right or not, but this happens on that. And we as technology company are getting a lot of feedback from operators across the globe what we need to add more, which is there. And the open interoperable interface is becoming more and more common, and integrating more and more services beyond the guest room experience is also getting added. So maybe I think in some countries what we are getting an experience that you may need to add some local network into that interface, because we may be going away from that paper environment. We are already on a barcode environment to scan, but I think a lot of directories of hotels are also getting embedded into the guest room experience through a common interface which a user will be using in the future, or through an app which we are putting onto the guest eventually, if they are moving on an app-based environment which moves right from the guest check-in to the operations of the room, or even exploring many more things beyond that. So I think the models are changing and the user experience is changing, which is driving all these kind of innovations.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Rajesh, you wanted to make a point?
Yeah, actually, Ms. Luthra, I differ slightly with you. Brands don't really impose much on sustainability. In fact, my experience with Chalet, and I'm proud to say Chalet is the first and probably the first company in the globe to sign up for all 3 climate group initiatives of EV100, EP100, and RE100. And we are also the first hotel company from India to be listed on the Dow Jones Sustainability Index. And we scored 38. Just to put things into perspective, Marriott, I think, was 35. And we listed this year. It takes time to increase your score. So we've, as owning company, we invest a lot into sustainability because it has shorter paybacks now. So in fact, we urge the brands to drive it more. You probably are mixing it probably a little bit with some other brand standards, etc. But I think on sustainability, brands need to do more. In fact, we work with Marriott and Accor, and we push them hard to adopt more and more measures which make the building more sustainable, the operations more sustainable. Just to give an example, all these brands have an option of guests opting out of daily linen change. We as owners push them to default option should be linen change after every 2 days. The guest should be placing a card to opt in for a daily linen change. That way, you achieve the objective, because very few of us actually pick up that card and place it on the bed that we don't want our towels changed, because we're in a hurry. But if we want it, so by default, hotels should do it every 3rd day, or 2nd day, or 4th day. So we are pushing them to make it the other way around. So because the payback is for the owning company, not really for the brand. It may be good advertising and marketing for them, but that is also for the hotel again. So I think investment into sustainability is not just for the brand, it's for you, me, our kids, and everybody.
Well said. So let me get my consultant friend Karthik. And Karthik and his firm is about 1969?
Yes.
Yeah. And they've done almost like 120 hotels?
Yes.
And the first one being the Oberoi?
One of them.
One of them. So I think, as the people in the hall would definitely like to, know more about you coming from the engineering services, and how would you see sustainability? So just to say that, what are those emerging technology trends you see in electrical and automation domain of the whole, the hotel building infrastructure?
Well, Bibor, it's a very good question you have asked over here, because
I just wanted to come away from this.
yeah,
the gentlemen
because,
were getting into technology
you
spend,
are going
return.
back to
Yeah.
the 80s, and here we are in 2022. So sustainability is good, but hotels, when we come in over there, we design the hotels, we give you a system, but we find everything is good till the first bill which comes out, and then the chief engineer comes back and says, why so much? That is when the hoteliers themselves are forced to actually try and reduce their entire source of power taken, etc. So sustainability as such is good, but it's forced on them more so, because to make revenues better, So that's why you are finding more of a stress on trying to get better chiller systems, better guest room automations, better metering. So you have metering so you can compare and find out as to where is your excess power going. So that is where it has moved forward. So yes, we are seeing a better improvement in those trends as well, in the sense that once upon a time, the AC load used to constitute around 70% of the total load. Now we are seeing it's come down to around 40%. So that's a significant amount of movement towards that, you could say.
What is giving joy to your client?
A reduced bill at the end of the day.
Okay.
So long as he doesn't fall off his seat.
Now,
That's,
just
that is
elaborate some little more.
Yeah.
The joy is fine. I mean, really, who doesn't mind? I mean, he's completely nodding and vehemently agreeing with you. But as a consultant, when you go there, and each of the asset owner is really trying to say, listen, I want the best, but make sure, Karthik, our bills are down for energy, water consumption, savior, and all that. But is it in a real life situation, the demand and, the requirement of your client is matching the need? How you, in real life situation, you're finding it?
Well, frankly speaking, it all depends much more on how the systems are run by the entire engineering team, how optimally they are able to make it run. We believe that softwares are good. You have building automation systems are good. Have a fail-safe. Just in case if it fails, your guy over there has to know how to run it, ensuring that he is not taking much power. So this is the major fundamentals of the background which goes when we build the hotels over here.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, I mean, that completes first round of the question. I will go through, and you can keep your questions ready. And Anurag, big congratulations for the two lovely, we can't wait to see those hotels in down Kerala going up. I mean, that's, you guys can really give a big hand because, COVID times, I mean, if I know, and a lot of people are there in the room from Leela, I think you opened how many hotels?
5 hotels.
5 hotels. I mean, these are big luxury hotels. So I think that's tremendous. And let me just quickly go to Anurag. A growing number of guests expect that hotel to offer a certain level of sustainability to feel good about their stay decision. However, talking about sustainability often results in guests being asked to give something up, like reusing towels. How can the hotel industry find way to connect guests to sustainability design and green products in the room to make the sustainability movement successful?
I think it's changing. It's changing rapidly. As I mentioned earlier, more and more of the guests are now more mindful, more conscious about the impact that they have on the environment. And I think, as I mentioned earlier, at the risk of repeating myself, it's become accelerated due to pandemic. And I don't think that sustainability means really giving up. It also means enhancing your experience in many ways. But before I go there, I just want to just add a point on what Javed very elaborately expressed and very correctly so, and something what Rajneesh also said to Mr. Luthra's question, that I think like everybody else, we have also beautiful palaces and where we have retrofitted and brought in a lot of capex and put in a lot of capex intervention to ensure that we use the downtime of the last 18 odd months to bring in the technology which would make sure that we were ready and to some extent ready for the future for the next 10 years when it comes to all this automation. And the returns, ROIs on them mostly are less than 36 months. So that kind of can give comfort to you as an owner that they kind of feed for each other. Now going back to your question, I think what we have done, and I can talk from experience from Leela specifically, other than investing in projects like solar plants and renewable energy And there are a couple of our hotels which are consuming almost 86% of the energy is coming through renewable sources. What we also have done, which has been very well received by the guest, is bringing in products and experiences which they can relate to. For example, a few months back, we launched Tishya, which is homegrown, native. We have used flowers like Kumud, which is lotus, and Nilgiri to come out with a fragrance program. Not only have we reduced 3.5 million bottles of plastic, but this has been very well received and very well, to the extent now we are starting the retail range of Tishya, and we also have this amenity which is a takeaway for every guest in every room. We are at the crux of launching our wellness, our holistic wellness program in the next couple of weeks, and Anjali is here right now, which is also dovetailing with what Ms. Majumdar presented earlier, holistic wellness program called Ojasya, which the first pillar is through nutrition, mindful nutrition, wherein to the consumer standpoint, my personal input was it shouldn't just be healthy, it should look good and it should taste well as well. I mean, everybody knows if you give up and sacrifice, you can remain kind of healthy. Why not have it all or most of it, maybe in a smaller plate, and yet stay healthy? So Ojasya is around that principle and concept. Of course, we have our own bottling plants and water. So to me today, the way I see it, it's no longer just fashionable and something good to talk about. It's something more and more people are embracing. And also the discussions that we have sometimes with our counterparties, owners, and we are owners of 5 hotels of our own. And when we are looking at a new build or a greenfield development, we also look at what do we do right at the beginning? How are we building a hotel? Is the large writing table really a necessity? Do we really need a bathtub, an outsized bathtub in a business hotel? So we are also trying to question this, that, you know, that do we really, whether utilization or the usage is less than low single digit. If you ask in a hotel which has got a length of stay for 1.6 nights, how many guests actually have the time? So things of that nature, and this is something that more and more guests are now letting us know, okay, hey, we realized that you have so much happening there, maybe you can do that. So it's not just something that you have to really sacrifice to be, even the luxury space. And I think Rajneesh mentioned earlier, luxury, there was a time was all about, I won't say wastefulness, but it was all about opulence, more. But I think more and more people are realizing that even less is more, as long as it is authentic, it is tastefully done, presented very well, and very mindfully presented, something that they can adopt and consume without feeling guilty about it. So I think that's my take on the fact that you don't have to have a compromised experience whilst you are living a so-called sustainable lifestyle.
Well said. I mean, for a moment I said how beautifully you summed up the balance of luxury and how you summed up, you know, some of the great initiatives. You know, when you said this, you know, do you really need a bathtub? And, you know, we have an office for ITP Media at BKC. It's a very expensive place to be in. And we have a very big conference room. And I keep asking my team, do we really need it? We just get holed up in that conference room probably 4 times in a week. And so why don't we just get away with it? And probably, so I think these are some of the common sense. You don't need to really dwell too much and to understand. These are common sense, and they're telling you how you can save cost, and at the same time, how Anurag said, you don't really, you just need to optimize luxury. It's not about opulence. Today, the customer and the guest is very discerning, and even in this part of the geography as well. So let me get Rajneesh you very quickly. What are some of those new trends which you see has evolved strongly after COVID and are here to stay with respect to hotel operations?
I think many trends. Pandemic kind of induced that all of us had a lot of free time at hand. All of us hoteliers during those 2 years. At least the initial part of the first few months, we had a lot of time at hand. Only Zoom calls and just thinking. I think all of us came with a lot of ideas of, that were induced by the pandemic, but are probably here to stay. They were already in the making, but not adopted that quickly by us. Our industry has always been slow to adopt technology and changes. We feel this is the way to do it, and this is the best way to do it.
I'll take your word, slower, huh?
We're very slow. I mean, and I've been on both sides of the spectrum, being with brands, owners, a combination of two, etc. So I can speak from experience. Hotel brands are extremely slow to adopt any change. We feel this is the best way to do business. So, but now new trends have kicked in. Few examples which all of you, since you work in hotels or associated with hotels, would have seen that touchless entry into room. I mean, it was long overdue. You don't need so much of plastic to be used when you can do it from your phone. The QR codes in the restaurant, some restaurants may still get the big menus back. I still know a lot of old-minded hoteliers who feel, nahi yaar, maza nahi aata without that menu. But if some of you have been to restaurants with 8 in a group of 10 or 12 or 15, with 2-3 kids, half women, half men, the waiter will come with 4 or 5 menus and give it to the guy who he thinks is going to pay the bill, or looks the oldest like me, or is the fattest. So he gets the menu. And a couple of other people are peeping in the menu trying to find their dishes, and then 3 of them will say, yaar, jo order karna hai, kar do. But now you have the QR code. All 20 in your group have a cell phone. They all scan the menu. They all look at it. They have the pictures, and they can all, they all feel equal. Nobody is the boss. Nobody is deemed as taking the bill.
So that equals.
Yeah, all of them are equals, including your 5 or 6-year-old kid who was never offered a menu by the restaurant guy, because they didn't have 20 menus, because the menu costs a lot to print. It offers you the flexibility to change the dishes every day if you want to, the pricing every day if you want to. So why wouldn't you adopt it? It's not just about sustainability, it's getting rid of that printing, that paper, etc. Some hotels, Anurag, yes, you're giving me a inquisitive look. But luxury doesn't mean stupidity. So it's common sense. Every damn person has, you still have those menus, you can keep those. You can have one in Braille instead, offering to people who are unable to read. So that trend is, I think, going to be there. A lot of the smaller restaurants will get, I'm not just talking about 5-star hotels, a lot of restaurants will get rid of the menu completely. They don't need it. It wouldn't be needed. That is one thing. Then again, adoption of technology at front office. A lot of us feel our industry is touch and feel, you need to talk to people. Honestly, how many of you want to talk to people when you're on your way out, checking out of the hotel?
Please raise your hand.
I mean,
no, I just want some general.
I don't want to fake smile saying, nice meeting you, sir, we'll see you next time again. I mean, so on check-in, probably, maybe, yes, it makes a difference. Check-out, I don't think so, because you're in a hurry to catch a flight or go to the office for a meeting. So if you could pay your bill from the phone in your room, it's done. You don't need to do anything else. Pick up you don't need that valet to carry your briefcase, which happens, I travel every week. So I see a lot of these IS officers or some big shots in the government. One small briefcase they have usually. I don't know, that's also empty, most of that. But they'll have 3 people walking with them.
Very strong paper.
So I'm giving that example coming to a point, but you have 3 people walking with them. One of the airport guy, probably the Adani guy here, or the GMR guys in Delhi. Sir,
I know Rajneesh has done his very good observation.
Same thing happens in hotels. You enter the hotel, the valet says, can I take your bag? No, I just carry a laptop bag. I said, no, thank you. Again, you ask, sir, can I carry your bag? Because there are 3 valets standing there. They need a job. So probably the excesses which were not required, and they are definitely not required by the next gen, will be done away with. So those are trends that will stay. One of the other trends in more general would be to do more with less. We can do more with less. Luxury does not mean washing your hands with 20 liters of water. It is not luxury, it's being stupid. So I think common sense will be ingrained more in everybody's mind, and people are more conscious about the environment, and these trends will stay.
Very nice. I think I really love the idea about the equals. The other day we were having a conversation in Delhi, and there was a client saying that it's a time when we are equals. You just don't call us and do kind of a pitch. We are just part of you in the forum. I mean, just to coming back on that, and Anurag on the luxury, I was reminded the first time many years back when I went to Vegas, on the Strip there was a hotel called Arya, part of the MGM, and I checked and the way, the Leela, the moment you walk in, the way you are treated, I mean, you feel like a god. Suddenly there was nobody. And I was booked from the MGM CEO's office on a Sky Suite. I missed it, man. I'm on this forum, I can say honestly, I missed it. So now with that IS officer, the bureaucrat that will walk, would they still have to have 3 people to take care of him?
We don't have many of those in our hotels. But nonetheless, I think I completely agree to an extent that luxury needn't just be about opulence, needn't just be about too much of everything. Of course, it has to be authentic, it has to be credible, it has to be consistent, and it has to add value to your life and experience. And if it requires 3 people or it requires 0.3 people, that's something that depends on the location, the destination, the kind of services that you're adding. We have seen from our experience There are people who pay upwards of $500 to $700. They do expect a certain level of experience, especially when they come to South Asia markets. We have seen that unlike your city business hotels where probably, I agree with Rajneesh, where you're in a rush to check in and check out, despite having everything available at your disposal, and they still need a kind of a human interface to some extent. So whilst what COVID taught us was to do less, to do more with less, and we were obviously trying to be efficient, but we are also very mindful of where we can bring in technology, where we can increase our adoption, which were the high impact guest facing roles versus which were the roles that could be kind of clubbed together and better integrated to bring in, the savings in terms of better efficiencies and all of that. We did all of that. So I think there are some changes which are permanent. Permanent not in the sense of, I always talk about, when people talk about changes being permanent, I said, how is the hospitality industry going to be different once we start hitting the high 70s and early 80s again? Will we go back to the same manning levels? Will we go back to the same cost percentages? Every hospitality company dropped to less than two, even in the luxury upper scale space, less than 2 associates per employee. Can we still deliver? Will the buffets go away? Will all of that stuff remain? So I think the proof of the pudding will happen in Q4 of this year when all the hotels are doing mid-80s to early 90s occupancy in most cities, which we anticipate. And then how much of that is permanent and how much of that is going to be reset. But some things, most importantly, I think the change that is going to stay is, even from the industry standpoint, whether it's luxury, upscale, is that people have become more mindful, more aware. The sense of work-life balance, holistic wellness is now permanent. Whether it's your guest, more and more people are aware of the purpose in life. People are traveling traveling less, but staying longer. They're consuming larger rooms. They need more openness, more spaces. And hence this adoption of sustainable practices and ESG is going to be no longer just a fad or good to have, but it's going to be fast-tracked.
I think ESG is the way forward.
Yeah.
Awesome. So let's get Javed. Now that the hotels are back to normalcy, Javed, what do you think are the few things that have changed with respect to handling guest experience from pre-COVID times?
Well, I'm trying to think of something that Rajneesh and Anurag have not already said. So it's actually, from a guest experience point of view, one noticeable difference was the need to travel for holiday is something that came out. The moment it was relaxed, the lockdown was relaxed, the need to reconnect with family came out, the need to travel in as secure a manner as possible. Of course, there weren't those options and the flights are now full, but there is a sense, I don't know, it's not probably pandemic related entirely, but I think people rediscovered the highways and the roads infrastructure in our country, which on the highway is pretty good actually. I've driven, not this time, not today, but I have managed to drive all the way from Delhi down to Mumbai, and then made a circuit around Pune, Nasik, and back because we were opening some hotels multiple times. The good roads, leave aside unruly traffic, but the road surfaces and the way they're done are really good. So drivable distances, that sort of holiday, weekend getaways, we have multiple choices around Mumbai, and well, actually every major city we have multiple choices, drivable distance. So that's one thing, is a response to, some may have been coincidence, but certainly great now that we figured it out. Good to respond to that requirement. There's a sense that people want authenticity in the experience, meaning they want to talk to somebody local, so local knowledge. I think the relevance is, having relevant options available. A guest may choose not to meet you. It's fine. He can check in remotely and he can choose a room and he can even check out remotely. That's also fine. Settle his bill online. Lots of digitization in terms of the menu and selection of things. So that's one thing, if you can do that. And you want to do that, that's fine. If you want to talk to somebody, then we need to have somebody knowledgeable on hand. I think, knowledgeable, by knowledgeable, I mean somebody who can talk about what's good locally to do, whether it's a excursion, whether it's a visit to a interesting historical site or undiscovered gem, or experience a cuisine from a home chef in the hotel, without it being, ceremonious. All of this is now available in all hotels. I don't think it's exclusive to us. It's certainly we have it, but I'm sure everybody does. So these are new things. I think a time to connect with family. The other aspect is working holidays, if you like, and not just for hoteliers, but
Do we have that?
so.
I don't think we have that. Hoteliers.
Yeah, so no, we don't. So yes, in the sense we're working, right. So no, what I meant is that somebody in the family who's working, let them work, and the hotel can now cater to the rest of the family if they want to have a downtime, and be able to do that smoothly. Some of our resorts are able to do that, and we have pretty nice options. So these are a couple of things that I can think of in addition, in consumer behavior, in addition to what my members of my fraternity have said here already. And I think, of course, it is sure that the need for safety is something that gets talked about every time. And I sense that we have a responsibility to find a way to make things safe, and let's say safe from the point of view of, I'm trying to think of a word in terms of food safety and sterile. I don't want to use the word sterile because we're not a hospital like my father worked in, but something that provides that level of safety and comfort without being obtrusive, so unobtrusive, and without being heavily dependent on chemicals, whatever they be. So those disinfectants, I wish we could have TV remote controls that didn't have to be encased in paper or cutlery, or everything could be like the key cards, which gets sterilized in a box and infrared. And the reason I welcome all that is that there's something we don't produce, but we certainly can encourage, and we certainly can adopt, and we'd be happy to adopt that. So availability of that sort of technology, which doesn't call upon us, thank goodness we're not wearing masks which are disposed of in that big huge bin, or even those face shields. It was horrifying to even experience that. I was first in the air after the first wave. So thank God we're not doing that anymore, and I don't know, and thank God we have the level of let's say inoculation that we have against the virus, and perhaps some immunity developed as well. Many of us have seen it, and many of us have lost loved ones, colleagues, and so on. So I hope that never happens again. But these are things that are certainly required. You need to have a sense of being safe, but not having to actually deal with the every aspect of it which had to be endured at the time when we were fighting for survival. I think it'll get better and better and more sophisticated, and I hope technology develops faster there. I would be a big proponent of adopting that. Thanks.
Wonderful. Now let's get a hard-hitting question. Karthik, I think we talked of the softer aspects. There's ever-increasing demand for, building green hotel infrastructure. So what are some of the amazing technologies that you're adopting to make this possible?
So these days we find many hotel owners going for solar panels. Solar is a way by means of which they can reduce their dependence on the main electrical supply grid. There is more of look towards rainwater harvesting as well, wherein we are trying to harvest the rainwater from the roofs, etc., terraces. Wind energy is there, but it's very difficult to actually execute it because of the space which is needed. We are also seeing a trend wherein the guest room automation was something which was restricted to only 5-star and above. but we are seeing certain operators who would want to get it implemented in all their star hotels. So we are seeing a trend wherein there is a major emphasis on trying to reduce the power consumed per key. So that is where we are seeing it's moving towards.
Excellent. So, ladies and gentlemen, I almost come to the last question for Bhupesh. And I had the fortune to work with Schneider on multiple platforms that we deal at ITP, right from manufacturing to healthcare, to construction, to hospitality, to multiple. And we've seen one thing about this company, not that I'm trying to make a pitch here, but you know, they're truly on the planet doing incredible work in towards the sustainability initiatives and how they really partner. So this Green Yoda movement, I just want to little understand, I think the people in the hall also, and what are those special initiatives, and especially more pertinent to hospitality sector? How are you empowering, how are you really helping the industry?
Okay, Green Yoda is a very special initiative which Schneider in India has launched as the first, this is the first country where this program has been launched. So it's a program where we are creating a community of individuals, corporates coming together to contribute towards the society. I think we all saw in Millie's presentation on the temperature rise, and 1.5 degree is something which we want to bring it down, but by when? It is we all, individuals, corporates and communities, we need to do a bit of contribution by which we can help attain those goals what we have been talking on piece of paper through ESG commitments and the sustainability goals. So in Green Yoda, there is no direct business relation when we talk. It's individuals' contribution, whether I walk, whether I use an EV, or I do something in my business environment or in my home environment to contribute towards society, because we all come together to give this society and I think this human race a planet which is more livable and much longer to be there. So I think it's all about that when we talk, while we do get through some business initiatives in between, but primarily I think that is irrespective of any business initiative, we want to achieve that in a much faster pace. And we see the new generation is much more concerned, much more educated, and they want us to be, I think, delivering on what we have been talking over these years. And I think Schneider has taken a leap forward by bringing many corporates and communities on board in terms of bringing that to the table, whether it is through the initiatives what hotels have been taking, primarily on the linen or on the towel. I think they are also part of the Green Yoda. So we do not have any business relation with that thing, but we treat that as an initiative towards the Green Yoda movement, which hoteliers are also.
Big hand on, please, ladies and gentlemen. I think this is a great initiative, and really, Bhupesh and everybody in the Schneider in the room, I think this is something really benevolent and a cause that you have taken. Ladies and gentlemen, while we end up, do we have any question, please? Okay, I'll walk up to you, ma'am, or somebody in the office. Yeah, right there. So we have a question, and ma'am, please tell us who is it for?
Yeah, no, in general, this is a question for me to just understand, because we are talking about a lot of digital innovation. And I was also in China, a couple of years back, and there we ordered something in room service. So when the doorbell rang, so we were trying to look for a person. So there was this robo which came in. And it was actually talking and saying that your order is here. And so it opened on itself, and we took it out, and then it went away. So yeah, I mean, that's all good. And I'm forgetting the chain. But then we also, along with the environment, we have a big social obligation also. And India is a place where people need jobs, and we are talking about it. So as we are moving more and more towards sophistication, there are a lot of people out there. So is there something, like as a collective, big hotel chains, what are the initiatives that you are taking to ensure that there's a balance between environment and society?
Very nice. Who would like to take this question? Okay, Rajneesh.
The robos we evaluated at Chalet, they don't really work well here because you need to make a lot of changes to the building integrated with the elevator, with the room service. So, I mean, to use them in a hotel which is already existing is difficult. And the hotels which are coming up, you can. We also experimented, we took a demo also to be used in the lobby. When the robo can just be going around with some, say, welcome drink or a piece of chocolate or a cookie, and can just keep on roaming, but it won't take anybody's job. So apart from that, when you say that we have a big responsibility towards our people, we are 1.3 plus billion nation, and but ma'am, to put things into perspective, we still have less number of hotels and rooms that are required by our country. Every survey, every hotel company, magazine says that. If we use our resources efficiently, the hotels are run efficiently and profitably, the chances of that owning company and that brand making more hotels increases, thereby generating more employment. So rather than giving 10 people employment in one hotel, we would rather employ 17 in 2 hotels and maybe 21 in 3 hotels, thereby bringing down the number of people per hotel, but having more hotels or more businesses as such. So I don't think it will be fair to say that technology will eat away into people's jobs. I think it will elevate people's jobs. Certain mundane activities may be replaced by automation. Those mundane jobs were never career-oriented jobs anyway. So people would have to go to the next level, which would happen. I mean, it's a whole, we can go on and on, another session on that. But the basic point I'm trying to make is that automation is not really replacing important people. It's just replacing mundane jobs, which shouldn't be done by people when you already have machines there to do it.
Wonderful. Anybody else in the hall? I mean, should you have okay, I see the last man. Can people double up? While Mr. Luthra will come back, I'm very enamored to see the backbenchers. Please identify yourself, give your name to it, and where you are, which city. Can somebody go to the last row? It's so very heartwarming to see a last row people asking. So you're with us, so nice. Thank you. Alisha, can we really double up? Yeah. Yeah. But very interesting answer, Rajneesh. Yeah.
I tried to make an effort. I hope I was able to answer.
No, I will also like us, not that losing the job, ma'am, just to labor on that. I would definitely like somebody to give me a drink.
Maybe I would just like to add on, that
sure.
from the technology point of view,
Sure.
because the digitization is just enhancing the new skills required, which today do not exist. So we did saw a lot of transformation when mobiles were coming. We all were moving from apps from physical store visit to digital ordering. We haven't seen jobs going down. I think it's bringing in the new skills. The new jobs are coming our way, because these technologies will enhance or create a need for new skills to be developed for various people. And I think, in my view, I think he's talking spreading the resources in 3 properties. I'll put maybe new skills to be added in the same property as well can happen, which is
I also just wanted to add to it, why in hospitality? Look at it in manufacturing, look at it in healthcare space, be it using technology to the hilt, and that's become the enabler. Like somebody was talking about predictive, you can actually know what's going to happen, and you can maintain your line, so not disrupting. So I think technology is here to aid, and people in the room and outside the room, whoever is listening to us, please adopt technology. You can't shy away, embrace it. Gentlemen. Your
Hi.
name?
So, first of all, wonderful inputs from all the panelists. I mean,
Sir, please introduce yourself.
I am Sandeep Nagpal. I'm an architect and interior designer.
Very well.
And definitely a sustainability enthusiast.
Awesome.
So, my question here was, can we use regulations and rewards as catalysts to bring about the change that we're talking about? When I talk about regulations, I'm saying from the governance and hotel association point of view. And when I'm talking about rewards, I'm talking about the end user being incentivized to adopt these measures so that maybe they pay a lesser bill, maybe they get some sort of, there's a reward system in which they help the hotels in bringing their operational costs down as well as gain something out of it. Because at the moment, even though we are seeing this change really, people really getting onto the sustainability wave, there's still a large segment that is quite ignorant or not, they don't have that drive yet. So that was my question.
Thank you. You'd like to take Anurag?
I think that's a great question, and I think it's been tried. There are many companies that are doing that. For example, what Rajneesh mentioned earlier if you do not choose to get your towels and your linen changed every day. There are incentives in terms of additional loyalty points. So, and yes, there is a kind of a reward mechanism which has been built up into the protocols of many hospitality companies to reward guests and, in a sense, expand the scope of adoption of more green practices. It already exists, and yes, a lot more can be done in that space.
Regulation, there is.
Regulations exist, yeah.
Yeah, on the regulation bit, I think it does help, although regulations come with its own set of collateral damages. We all know how the system works. But regulations and the authorities of the government making it mandatory, some part of it, and incentivizing it definitely helps. I'll give you one example. CSR was not compulsory a few years back. Then it was made mandatory for certain companies above turnover above something, 2% of your profits need to go towards CSR. And that has made loads of difference to our country in a lot of sectors. Otherwise, companies were left to do whatever they felt like doing, depending on the management, how they felt. Similarly, in sustainability, right now it's a drive, it's a emotional call, need of the hour that all of us are very charged up and aim towards the sustainability. But there would be many companies who would still put profits before sustainability, thereby negating the efforts of the many others, smaller efforts of many other companies who are doing it out of their goodwill gesture and who see value in it. Some kind of regulation is definitely required, or kind of from the authorities, and incentivizing by the government is already there. Just to give another example, EV charging stations, many states have gone ahead and announced lower power tariff to the EV charging station. They've already announced subsidized zero registration fee for cars that are EV, many states. So there are incentives, but yeah, it needs to be institutionalized further. Bigger incentives need to come into play, and measuring mechanics need to be instituted by the government.
Very well, thank you. So I've got...
Can I add back to that? Or, I mean,
gentlemen,
let the gentleman take
I'm
this.
so sorry. Yeah, for sure. So I've got Vikram
There is something known
Chaubal.
as PAT.
Yeah. Yes, please. Thank you so much, all of you. And I request Mr. Bibor Srivastava to give the vote of thanks.
Thank
Over to
you,
you,
thank
Bibor.
you. Thank you, Awesome. Thank you, Chief Engineers. Thank you, Rahul Prabalkar and all the folks who travel. Rahul, are you there in the hall? Please raise your hand. Very dear Rahul, Mr. Relia. I don't want to shout out Mr. Kulkarni and lots of people who supported us to make this evening possible. We really mean it, and thank you very much. I can see lots of designer friends and architects. So please enjoy your evening, and I promise you we'll have a very extensive coverage. Thank you, Lalita, Mujib, and everyone in the room. Thank you.